46.
Okay, so the front side of your opener. Guys, here we go. Back to it. The front side of your opener, it says determine the M and A for each of the following expressions. Then determine the two numbers that multiply to M and then add to A. So just a quick refresher. Can somebody tell me how I find my M? Kelsey. What do you do with them? Good. So you're going to multiply your first coefficient times your third coefficient. When I say coefficient, what does that mean? Just the numbers. Don't include the variables. So when you take 3 times 14, Kelsey, what did you get?
42.
Okay. And then what is your A?
13.
And what is the A? How did you find that? Or your second coefficient. Yes. So now that we have 42 and we have 13, you can look at your blue factor sheet. Find 42. Under there, what factors can you then add or subtract, but usually add together to get 13? 6 and 7. So if I take 6 times 7, I'm going to get 42. If I take 6 plus 7, I'm going to get 13. Good. Next one. Who can do the second one here for me? Rihanna.
4 and 9. That gives you 36.
Okay.
And your A is 15. To get 15 and 36 is 3 and 12.
Nice job. So when we're doing the MA method, it's pretty easy when we have all positives. So we have one more with all positives. Who wants the last easy one?
Me.
Deontay.
It's 30.
How'd you get that?
It's 30. The A is 11.
Okay.
And then it's 1, 5.
Tell me why this would not work.
I mean, 5 comes.
There we go. Because if I take 5 times 6, I'll get 30. If I take 5 plus 6, I'll get 11. You're a hot mess over there. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, last one. So the last two. The last two are going to be a little bit more difficult because we have negatives we have to worry about. So when we go to multiply, we have to pay attention to our negatives. When we go to get our A, we have to pay attention to the negative. So for the M, on my fourth problem here, what's my M going to be?
Your M going to be 13.
That's going to be my A. And what kind of 13 is that going to be?
Your M going to be, is it 6?
Times,
Negative 8.
which is going to be, what's 6 times negative 8? Elizabeth?
Negative 48.
Negative 48. Okay, so you're still going to use your blue factor sheet here. So when you're looking at your blue factor sheet, you're going to find 48. Then beneath, you're going to look at the factors. Which of those factors can you manipulate to get 13? Now when you're looking at them, you know one of the factors has to be a negative because our M is a negative. But then because our A is a negative, which of those factors will be the negative? So what's my MA? Negative 16 and what? 3. So if I take negative 16 times 3, I'll get negative 48. If I take negative 16 plus 3, I'll get negative 13. Good. And the last one. Looking at this last one, what can we do with it? What can we do with this last expression if we had to factor it? Fast factor, why? Yeah, because the first one doesn't have a coefficient. So what's my M for this last one here? 40. What's my A? I'm sorry, what? Negative 14. Okay, now, I want you to stop and think about this. My M is a positive. My A is a negative. So what does that mean? My M is a positive. My A is a negative.
They're both negatives.
What are both negatives?
The number that's both in number.
Okay, so what are your numbers that you use? Hey, Deontay, reel it in. Huh? So negative 10 and negative 4. So if you take negative 10 times negative 4, sorry, you can't really see that, can you? If you take,
I can see it now, though.
I can't
There you go. So if you take negative 10 times negative 4, you'll get positive 40. But if you take negative 10 plus negative 4, you'll get negative 14. Okay? All right, flip it over. Yep. So if you guys remember, okay, I'm not going to do this tomorrow. We'll go back to regular seating if we can't handle it. So beginning of each triad, we start with something more basic. And then we add and add and add and add upon that skill until we get to our final skill. This here is our final skill. Use the MA method and the area model to factor. Now this is one of our easier final skills because I didn't throw negatives in there. So we're going to use the MA method and then we're going to factor it. So the first thing I need to find is my M. What's the M of this expression? 24. What's my A?
11.
Okay. So then what's my MA? Okay. So 3 and 8. So I'm going to circle that because what do I do with the numbers that I just circled? What do they become, Darius?
Yo, numbers for area.
Yeah, it's the area that goes in the top right and bottom left. So what do you want to put in the top right, Darius?
I would rather put you said top right?
It doesn't, yeah, top
8.
8. We could also put the 3 in there. So if you put the 8 in the top right, the 3 is going to go in the bottom left. What variable goes with those two?
E.
Okay, so then we need to fill in the rest of our areas for the area model. So what's the area of the first rectangle here? And then the area of the last one.
6.
Okay, good. Now, after we put the areas in of all the area models, or all the rectangles, we now need to find the greatest common factor of the top row. The greatest common factor of the top row will tell me what about it? The height. So, what's the greatest common factor for 4 and 8? 4. If you don't remember, you can always do your factor tree. So let's look real fast. You guys don't have to do it. So if I did 4 and 8.
I didn't do it like that. I put my 3 up there.
Okay, then if you put your 3, it'd be 1. So you go ahead and work with your 3, and that's fine. So remember, if you can't find the greatest common factor by just knowing it, remember you can do your factor trees. Okay, so we decided that the height is going to be 4. What variable do they share? E. So the height of my top row of rectangles is 4E. So now I know the height, and I know the total area, so I'm left to find the width. So 4E times what will get me to 4E squared? E, so that's the width of my first rectangle, so I'm going to bring that up. Then 4E times what will get me to 80? 2.
8.
What'd I say?
80.
4E times 2 will get me to 80?
Yeah,
80.
that's what you said.
8E. Oh, it sounded like I said 80.
Oh, it sounded like you said 80.
8E. Sorry.
8.
Okay, now that I found the top row widths, what do I do with them?
Drop them down.
Bring them down. They're our bottom widths. Do they go first or second? Second. Good. So now I'm ready to find the what of my bottom row rectangles?
The height.
The height. So what times E will get me to 3E?
3.
Will 3 times 2 equal 6? Yes. So Yancey, when you write your answer, you'll have E plus 2 times 4E plus 3,
Yeah,
which is fine. Okay. All right, so our final answer. So then we have the total area equals height times width. So what's my height?
Plus 3 times. Plus 2.